Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. Today's episode is Morgan James.
Hi. I've got one. I'm good, thanks. Well, you never know. Never know how many you'll need. Are you guys on Patreon?
We are. Yeah, but we need to, as David Broza was just telling us, we need to promote ourselves more and also figure out how to, it's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
And figure out how to, now they're talking in Hebrew out there. That's when
right.
That's when it's serious. But yeah, we need to figure out how to get sponsorship for this thing. Mm-hmm. That's what he was just talking about. Like, hey, do you have sponsorship yet? And it's like, no, we haven't really. My idea is let's just do it for a year and see where and build it.
6 months even.
Or 6 months. We're 2 months in.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's kind of building nicely, but I think
definitely is.
Yeah,
I can tell.
Yeah, there's a vibe to it, and
are you on iTunes, Audible? What is your platform?
We're on everything.
We're on iTunes,
and we're here with Morgan James,
iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, everywhere podcasts are available, and the full episodes can be viewed on YouTube as well, on Joe's YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Okay.
And so we want to build it, of course, obviously,
Yeah.
We want this to become our full-time job, basically.
Wouldn't that be fun? Chatting
just
with your friends.
Chatting with people that are interesting. It's the dream,
I think it's just building organically,
Yeah. It seems like word of mouth is the best way to come into, to approach the modern...
Isn't it that if you build it, they will come?
Music
philosophy?
Business, but what David Broza was saying was that we need to be more, I think, aggressive in terms of finding sponsorship and backing. And I think I think there could be some truth in that.
I think Patreon will be good for you.
Well,
it's been good for me.
How did you build that up? I mean, you're an example of somebody who's built up an incredible social media presence and launched your career independently, and you're having a very successful career in the music business, which
thank you.
Which is incredible. It's really hard to do that, and to do that on your own and independently. That's
commendable.
Very, because a lot of people have backings of huge labels and can't make it happen. And
when I had the big label, the irony is they didn't. I learned definitely a lot of other things, and I learned how to make a record, and I learned how to make a music video, but they didn't help me build my fan base at all.
Right.
Some people found me through radio, through Call My Name, definitely, and I'm thankful for that.
Was that a hit you had, or a sort of hit?
Yeah, on urban radio, I had that on for a while. So some people find me there, but they didn't help me. The label didn't help me develop or help me build my fan base. So when I was dropped, I kind of was, my management really helped me find a YouTube following and find a video following and build that, because then I was like, well, now what do I have? I thought everything was going to be golden with a big label, and they didn't help me do anything. Yeah,
in fact, my manager and I, Keith Hagan, who's my manager, we were, he was saying nowadays it's entirely up, artist development is entirely up to the artist and the manager.
Yes.
And if you don't have that going on, forget it. And in fact, because we've been in labels before, and we started for my new solo album, which comes out October 11th, Comeback World. But we were looking at around for labels, and they were all the labels he was talking to. They were like, yeah, we can put it out in this month or that month, and it was far away from now, and he was just like, fuck it, let's just do it ourselves. And it's they don't do anything anyway nowadays. It's you become less than what it used to be. And the thing is you expect them to do it, So basically, you're trying to motivate them to do something, whereas you could just skip the middleman and just do the something that needs to get done.
Yeah.
And then that way there's no chain of dysfunction.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only thing I miss is the checkbook, I
right.
mean, and I do miss
advance.
that. I mean, it's like, trying to raise money for everything by myself is very stressful, and it's not really my ministry. But I'm getting better at it, and I'm getting better at asking and getting better at saying, can you help me? And leaning into the support system of fans and people around me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing I miss from the label, and the perception that you are a more successful
credible.
Artist. Yeah, because that's what the label did for me. And I'm glad I had the experience at the label, because now I know that it's not a magic bullet. And if I hadn't had that, I would still be saying, oh, if I have a label, then I'll. And now I know.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like I'm still me, and I still had to build these people one set of ears at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's empowering when you know there is no magic bullet. Like,
it is.
It's very empowering.
And I know a lot of artists that think, well, any minute when I get the X or I get the Y, then I'll have success. And I look, it's just there's no.
It's the human psychology of mommy and daddy will come take care of me. That's it. It's like waiting for mommy and daddy ain't never gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like with this new project that I just recorded a new album, and
what's that called?
Should I tell you?
Well, not if you want to hold back the title. Don't.
I don't know if it's has a title yet.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
I'm leaning towards something. But
give a working title.
Well, I'm thinking of a la Hendrix, naming it after the studio that I just recorded in, and that's called Memphis Magnetic.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I love those images that you post.
Thank
something,
you.
Lately of your sessions in that studio.
Oh my God, it was so magical.
It just looks like it comes out of like the 60s or like something cool, like your style too, everything that you're like, I don't know, it's something about it's old school in a fun way.
Totally. It was an incredible studio. I've never recorded to tape before.
Yeah.
And I told all the guys, the band and everybody, I'm wearing vintage every day, head to toe. And usually I roll up in sweats to my sessions,
Right.
And I said, I really, really want to channel something, and I want this, it's new music through the prism of what I love, which is soul music and old music.
Right.
And so it's original music, but and this studio called Memphis Magnetic Recording, Scott McEwen opened this place. It's got gear from Nashville that Patsy Cline recorded on, but it's a new studio with all this classic gear inside of it. Mm-hmm. So it's just this old meets new that I love. And that's the combination that I really, really love. So yeah, I was like wearing vintage threads every day, and I was like feeling it.
But that's interesting, because I remember one time I produced an album for this artist named Tara Angel, and we made a great record. It was actually called Come Down, and Dan Lanois said it's the darkest and truest record since the first Black Sabbath album.
Wow.
Which was really a great we put that on the cover.
I bet.
But I called them producer shirts every day. Like I wore button-down shirts every day.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I had to have the illusion or create the vibe that I had some sort of authority. And button down.
I can't imagine you in a button-down shirt.
Me neither.
It worked though.
I'm sure it does.
With what pants?
No pants. No pants. Just the shirt.
Pantsless.
All you need is the shirt, really. It's like the Winnie the Pooh producer.
Yeah. Oh my God. So that's interesting, because that's a really good idea. And I think at first glance, a lot of people might go like, oh, that's a superficial detail, but it's not. It matters. Like if you're putting on these characters in a way.
And I just, and every day I did feel like the boss,
Mm-hmm.
and I did feel like I was, I don't know, I wasn't just kind of slouched around. I felt really like I was, and I felt like I fit in the studio. You see the pictures of the studio, and it's so beautiful and so, vintage, and then we ended up shooting all my album art there, and it was just really cool. But with the new album, my manager said, we're talking about chatting with labels or not, and he said, you know what, we're in a good position, because if somebody gets it, great, and if they don't, great.
Right.
It doesn't matter, because we're still going to make what we made, and we're still going to put it out. And so I'm not in that position where I'm like, I can't get this out if somebody doesn't do it for me.
No, you need to find somebody to take it to radio. I mean, there's like there's a certain amount of building blocks.
But radio, who cares?
Is YouTube enough these days?
That's true.
Is YouTube enough these days? Or?
What do you mean is YouTube? What I mean, between YouTube and touring and socials, I definitely don't want to spend the money to go to radio. They spent so much money taking my song to radio, and the second Epic Records lost interest in me and pulled it,
Yeah.
And that is all just built on money, and I don't want to spend the money there. It's a waste.
Yeah.
It helps the 20-somethings that want a pop record, but outside of that, it's a waste of money. I'd rather put my money in a publicist. That's where you need to put your money, personally.
Right.
I think between socials and touring, and I'm always putting my face somewhere, and I'm just it's gonna be I'm on that Bonnie Raitt timeline, baby.
Yeah.
I'm on that Mavis timeline.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I don't care.
Yeah. That's the timeline I'm on, too. The dude version of that timeline.
Well, but you're in such an interesting and unique place because you've experienced the mainstream success a couple times over.
Bit, yeah.
You have, and so to have the highs and lows of that throughout different times in your career.
Yeah. I
think you're kind of, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but it would seem like you're like, well, you know what? I've been there, and then you're in a different place in your life now to experience it again,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think we are. The good thing, the fortunate thing for me is that I do have a relationship with some of the AAA stations, like the FUV, and KEXP, and KCSN out in LA, and some certain people are gonna have me in and let me play. Probably, most likely. So it's not like rebuilding a relationship.
Yeah, you can go play it, but unless you got radio promo dollars, they're not allowed to play it. They'll bring you into the show.
Yeah.
I've got people that like me at stations, but they're not allowed to play me. There's no radio promo.
I see what you mean.
And so...
Is that how it still works?
Oh, yeah.
Honey.
Paola's still...
Paola's alive and well. It's just called radio promo now.
It's called radio promo
and people,
now.
It's like extortion.
Well, yeah, duh, dude. The music business is rough.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
Remember that Hunter S. Thompson quote about the music business? I'm going to look it up. It's really worth looking up because it's good. But it's it's like basically you got to there's radio promo, and then you got to pay exorbitant amounts of money for like a shot at your song getting added to regular rotation. Essentially, that's how it kind of works.
I'd rather make videos and spend it on a publicist or spend it on touring. I'd much rather reach people live because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a live performer, and I love touring, and I love reaching people in that way, in a real way, in a way that they can feel. And
How do you get new fans? That's what I'm always curious about. Because your videos some of them have millions of hits.
Yeah.
And I feel that instantly translates into some sort of success.
Well, I mean, that's people sharing it. It's grassroots, definitely. But people, I mean, that's how I built my fan base, was a couple videos going viral, and then people sharing it, and then people finding, and then I just hope that it's a gateway drug to other things I do. That if maybe somebody finds me doing a cover, that they'll maybe find my original music, and however somebody finds me, I'm like, great, welcome,
Right.
Because if they found me through Broadway, or if they found me through, PMJ or whatever, then it's okay. They'll find the rest of what I do, and hopefully they'll like it and they'll stay. And then it's about just engaging people and making them feel welcome in your world and on your journey, and saying to people, back in the day, you could say, I don't care what my fans think. You could say, I don't care if anybody likes me, And
it used to be cool to
be like that. It used to be cool to be like that, which would be fun.
Now it's not cool to be like that.
Well, you can still be a jerk if you want to, but I'm not for everybody. I'm definitely prickly, but I think that what I do say
What do you mean you're prickly?
I'm an acquired taste.
You are? Hold on. Let me read this quote. The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs. there's also a negative side. Hunter S. Thompson, right?
I love that. Oh my God.
But there's also a negative side at the end. It's like
so
that's the turn of genius right there.
So perfect. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So you're prickly, huh? I find you, I don't know, charming, effervescent, and
thank you.
I don't know. Maybe I met you on a good day.
Well,
how do you mean you're prickly?
Well, I mean,
or an acquired taste.
I'm uncompromising, and I'm stubborn, and I'm
you're ambitious.
But I always tell the truth, and that's hard for people. I think that's hard. Some people don't like my politics. I think that I'm...
What do you mean your politics?
Well, I think that you and I agree on most things, but there are a lot of my fans that don't like my politics, you know? And I have to kind of answer to that and accept that I'm going to lose people because, you know, I'm a liberal and I have my platforms that I really, you know, believe in and will always fight for. And there are a lot of people that find my videos that then don't like my politics. I mean, there's lots of, but I'm not going to be somebody who's neutral. That's just not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm very I think it's hard to be in my band. I think I'm a very stern boss. Like, I like things the way I like them, you know?
You're controlling.
Yeah. I like to get things done. I like to, but I don't leave it to other people. I will be the one at the end making sure, dotting everything and, you know, seeing everything through. So it's not like I'm controlling, but then I let other people do my work. Yeah, I'm just a strong personality, you know. But I think that when I when I invite people to come on the journey and say, you know, thanks for thank you, you know, for showing up. I know you can be somewhere else with your time and your money, you know? It's like more than ever we need to remind people how special it is that people still go hear live music.
Yeah.
It's like now it's like dire. Everybody's just at home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but when you've been touring in Europe too, right?
Yeah, we've gone to Europe twice with the band and then we usually do Europe once and the US like kind of a couple times a year.
Yeah. And is your new album, is it going to be mostly originals or is it covers? Or
it's all original, yeah.
All originals? All
original soul music. We also ended up recording 5 classic Memphis covers as well, just, you know, for later. And but yeah, 12 original songs.
And did you write them yourself or did you co-write?
I co-wrote all of them, yeah.
Yeah, who with?
I co-wrote like 8 of them with Doug Womble, who produced the record as well. I co-wrote one with Chris Barron of the Spin Doctors.
Oh, okay.
Like a long time ago, and it's never found a home.
Is he the lead singer of the Spin Doctors?
Yes. You need to have him on here. He's
really
awesome.
I would love to.
Oh my God.
We know Aaron Cummins very well.
I love Aaron. Yeah, of course.
Doctor,
no,
so
you and Chris would be like besties.
I like that guy.
You're so
That's a good idea. I'll reach out.
Yeah. What?
Tell him I sent you.
What's he like? Or how'd you meet him?
I met him because I know his wife, who's an actress. She's amazing, and
are they New York people?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they live on the Upper West Side.
Oh, okay.
But Chris, and then I wrote one with Jesse Fisher, and I wrote one with Ryan Shaw, this incredible soul singer. We wrote a duet together. Mark Broussard does a duet with me on the album.
Oh, he's great.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's so dreamy.
Mark's a fan of Joe's, and he played City Winery a few nights ago.
I was there.
We tried.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
We were there too. We were interviewing Jacob Dylan upstairs.
I thought I saw Jacob there. Yeah.
But we tried
to
get
texted
Mark
you.
after his show, but he had to leave New York. But we'd like to have him on. He's an amazing singer.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Did you see the Jacob Dylan documentary?
No.
It's called Echo in the Canyon.
Okay.
It's real good. You would love it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because it's from like 1965 to 66 and the West Coast and the great artists that of the California West Coast folky kind of scene.
Yeah.
And Jacob Dylan interviewing him.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I'll check it out.
It's real good.
Cool.
Yeah.
But so it's but yeah, it's original music with the instrumentation that I love. It's no electronic elements. It's no, and this is the first time. It's like a horn section, one mic, string section, one mic, 3 girls, one mic, you know, and it's that classic kind of recording style that I've always wanted to do for a project.
You know what's key in that classic recording style is all the vocals are just distorted as hell, like through compression, and like a lot of those vocals are distorted, compression, distortion from compression and analog gear. When you were singing and recording in that realm, were you just like having that nice, great vocal sound type of thing?
Well, I recorded on a Sony C500 FET and vintage Sony mic, which I love Sony mics. And I mean, the key to that, it's funny because we brought in a couple like legendary guys for a couple sessions.
Engineers or
musicians. Reverend Charles Hodges and Leroy Hodges, and they recorded on all those Al Green records and all these classic records.
Amazing.
And when they came in, they didn't tell us this, but basically they were used to, back in the day, high records and all that. They would rehearse a song like 75 times, no joke, and then cut tape once.
Yeah.
So they wanted to rehearse over and over and over, and we were like, okay, you know. And they were amazing, but they're used to, you get everything you need. You can't go back or you can, but you don't, that wasn't the practice, to go back and do things over and over and over, or recut anything, or overdub. And so it got me in a different mindset too, vocally, because I'm already like, you know, pretty, you know, perfectionist in the studio, but it was just like, I kept a lot of first takes, I kept a lot of complete takes, and I think that that's really cool to capture a performance.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it's cool.
Yeah, John Leckie, who produced Radiohead, the Bends, and he produced the Stone Roses. And he almost produced my first album. We started working together at Real World, but he told me, the more you record at one time of the complete record, the better. That sounds like what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's something about them, and also, you know, like getting all the band playing together and me singing together and getting that take of what that felt like, and I don't know, that's really. It's
the thing, because it's like all that invisible magic is like maintained, you know.
Well, and it's also, you know, I really like, you know, like I said, I'm really think that I'm a live singer, and I think that why people come to see me is what I can do live, you know. And so what I really wanted on this record was for people to say, take their record home and say, yeah, I heard that. That's what I heard. Rather than, you know, it's a record that's, and these records are great too, but full of lots of ingredients that you never heard on the live show, you know, or a voice that you didn't hear on the live show. I want people to.
That's how all my records are.
but that's okay too, you know.
I know.
That's amazing too.
Well, no, but I agree with you.
But for this, I just wanted to capture that, you know. Yeah.
So you had those guys from Al Green's band, and who, like, how long were you down there for?
10 days.
Where'd y'all stay?
At my mother-in-law's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So your husband
My husband's from Memphis.
From Memphis. Yeah. And that's what brought you down.
Well, you know.
And your husband's a really good guitar player, right?
Yes.
What's his name?
Doug Womble.
Doug Womble.
Yeah.
Oh, that's who's the producer who you co-wrote with.
Yeah.
Yeah. AKA your husband.
AKA my husband.
So it's all in the family.
It's all in the family. Yeah, you know, it's like Memphis is one of those great homes of soul music, you know, Stax and High Records and all that. And I've always wanted to do something, make a classic record like that, you know, and I feel like I've gotten these little tastes of these places, like when I worked on Motown, you know, and getting that Detroit flavor, and there's such a different scene, and when you go to Detroit and when you're in Nashville and when you're in Memphis.
You went to Motown and did
Well,
that?
no, I did Motown on Broadway, but then I was kind of in the world of Berry Gordy Jr., you know, so it was kind of, and I did go visit, of course, and make pilgrimage there, and
just that little room, right?
Yeah,
Motown's small, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you did Motown on Broadway.
I did.
I didn't know that.
I did, yeah. I played like Tina Marie and Doris Day.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's cool. You multiple characters.
Yeah, and the landlady, you know, and the random white person in the back.
How long were you on Broadway for?
Well, I did 4 Broadway shows. So I was on all together 5 years straight. Yeah.
What's that like?
Oh my God.
Or how did you even get into Broadway to begin with?
Well, you went to Juilliard.
I went to Juilliard. I studied voice, and then I wanted to be on Broadway, and so my voice.
That was your original goal, to be on Broadway.
Yeah, I really didn't think I was going to end up making records and doing all this.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be, I wanted to be a classic ingenue on Broadway. And I started auditioning, and I, really didn't get much work. And so it was the classic tale of, like, I was catering and waiting tables and babysitting and tutoring and bartending and doing everything.
And this is straight out of Juilliard at the same time as Juilliard?
Straight out of Juilliard, yeah. So I would get this and that.
How old were you,
like 22.
Oh, okay.
And I would audition. I would do like summer stock, and then there'd be 6 months of no work, and then you get maybe a regional job, and then you have it's a grind. It's a grind. And so I was auditioning all the time.
Yeah.
Took me many years to get my first Broadway show, but then I did that. Got on
Broadway. What was the first one?
My first Broadway show was The Addams Family with Nathan Lane.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what were you in that?
I was in the ensemble, and I covered Wednesday Addams.
Oh, okay.
And
that's the daughter?
Yeah. And then I did Wonderland, the Alice in Wonderland musical that closed in 27 days. And then I did...
So it was a success.
It was, I think it was me, really.
Yeah, it was your fault.
I think so. And then I did Godspell, and then I did Motown. And let me tell you, people ask me all the time, like, well, how do you keep up with your tour schedule? I was like, I did a Broadway show. I can do anything because it's so hard.
What's it daily, every day?
It's 8 shows a week. It's relentless. Relentless. Those people are the true rock stars because that's not all they're doing. Yeah. They've got families. They're doing benefits. They're doing shit all day. They're
I like that
incredible.
Relentless energy, though.
It's incredible.
Like touring life is something relentless about that. I
love it.
I create relentlessness in my life.
Yes, you do. I get exhausted looking at your Instagram.
Yeah, when it doesn't exist, because I have to,
Yeah.
It's I don't know, that pace, like when life is chasing you. We
have to be like a shark. If we slow down, we'll die, I guess.
Yeah. Or at least, we'll have a thought and a feeling. And which could spiral us down.
I miss a lot about being on Broadway, and it taught me so much about stamina and work ethic and strength and community and so much. And I miss all that. But why I ultimately left that world is because I really wanted, I was kind of working towards someone else's vision. Mm-hmm. You're working every night on someone else's dream. And I was like, you know what? I want to work for myself. I want to every single night sing my own music and work on my own dream. Mm-hmm. And so your dreams change, your dreams evolve. Yeah. And what I wanted when I was 22, and I'm one of the lucky ones that got to experience that and got to achieve that dream and, in some ways. And then your dreams evolve, and you keep kind of adding to them.
Right. Yeah. If you're strong enough to keep them alive, like, not everybody, a lot of people don't have dreams that can remain alive, or even a lot of people give up on life.
Yeah. A lot of people have dreams and think that that's all you need is a dream, and don't realize that a dream is only as good as the work you put into getting there.
Yeah, or I've heard also it's not about the dream, it's about who you become in the process of achieving your dream.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot too. So it's like if you dream big, the character that you have to become to achieve your big dreams, that's the point of your dream. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hear, I've kind of come across a few people in lately that say, well, but this is my dream, but that's my dream, and they've taken no steps toward it, and they've made no growth that would include it. And I wonder, I wonder how that works. I don't know. I don't think that it just happens. It's not like there's somebody out there granting wishes. It's all about how much work you put in.
Yeah, but I've definitely been weirdly on both sides of that equation a lot of time, or maybe everybody is, but just like partially definitely putting in the effort to achieve my dreams, and then partially waiting around for somebody to come and like make it come true for me.
But weren't you ready when somebody made it come true? Hadn't you done the work on yourself and on your music?
I thought I was. I still had a lot of work to do.
Well, don't we all? We always do, but it's about when opportunity hits, being ready for that, You can't then do the preparation you needed.
Yeah. So you built up a lot of what you did with your career through putting songs on YouTube, right?
I think that the biggest thing that built my fan base was I did a couple videos with Postmodern Jukebox back 4 years ago.
And what's Postmodern Jukebox?
They're like a music collective that got viral success a few years ago and now tours the world, and they kind of I think it started with this guy Scott Bradley that was kind of tongue-in-cheek, and then people really, really loved it. And so I did a couple videos that went viral and did 3 tours with them, and that's how a lot of people find me still.
What were those videos?
I did like maps, and like they take pop songs and put them in a different style.
Maps by
Maroon 5.
They're called Maroon 5.
Not the Yeah.
I thought it was Yeah.
They also have a song called Maps.
Different.
Oh.
And then we did like an All About That Bass,
which
went viral.
That before Maroon 5.
And then and what else did you do?
I did like an All About That Bass that went viral, and like I did a few of their videos, and what I think people really responded to on those videos is that they're live and they're very simple. Like it started like with one camera in somebody's basement, and but anyway, that's how most people found me. And then I started my own channel, and my manager was like, you need to start just releasing covers. I was like, I don't want to do covers. Nobody wants to see me do that. I want to do my own music. And he's like, just do it. Just do it. Let people find you.
Yeah.
They're going to search for this and find you and then find your music. And he was right. And that's exactly what it did.
Yeah. And I remember when we first met and you were encouraging me to do that too. Like you should do covers, And I think I should too.
I told you that.
You totally
years
should.
Ago, I was like, Joe, you should do Marilyn Manson covers.
You should do anything like.
Why Marilyn Manson?
Why? That's
because I just feel like
it could be anything.
Yeah, I know. I was,
just anything.
Yeah, but a lot of artists like Ryan Adams did the Taylor Swift cover, like the whole album of.
Well, then I started doing before he did. I started doing this like full albums. I've done 4 full album covers.
That's amazing.
Five full album covers.
You did the White Album?
I did the White Album. I did Blue, Joni Mitchell. I did Black Messiah was the first one we did, and I did it a month after D'Angelo came out with that record.
That's some Hendrix type shit when like Hendrix like played Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band like 2 days after the Beatles put it out.
Yes, oh my God.
Paul McCartney and John Lennon in the audience. He like opened up a show with Sgt. Yeah, he opened up with like, it was 20 years ago today, like 2 days after the Beatles put it out. Like that dude was crazy. On fire. So that's cool. So you did that how long after D'Angelo?
1 month.
1 month, that's amazing.
We did the whole album, and then I did
Did he hear it?
I think the band did, yeah. I mean, it's funny because some people, I guess Chris Rock and Q-Tip on their podcast a couple years back were talking about me but didn't know my name, and so they kept saying, did you see that white girl that did? I was like, that's me, I'm the white girl. Anyway, and then I did Jeff Buckley, Grace.
What's that like when you're listening to that and they're calling you the white girl? Like, did you want to like tweet at them and be like, yo,
I was like, yo, it's me.
Did you do that?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, I would have.
Oh yeah,
like,
totally. But but it was very controversial. It was very controversial when people saw it. A lot of people really liked that, and a lot of people were like, what business does she have recording that album? But anyway,
why? Because you're white.
Well, and it's that album was so I think it's the best album that's come out in the last 10 years, and I think that it was such a response to the political climate and to the racial climate in this country, and I think that not everybody wants to hear my take on that, even though it was a straight cover, didn't change a thing, and not everybody wants to hear that, and I respect that. But if anybody knows me and knows where I come from or listen to the full cover, they know that it comes from a good place and from a place of absolute respect of why he made it and everything. So
and where do you come from? Where were you born and raised?
Well, I come from the whitest place on earth, but I
mean, it doesn't matter. It was just a segue.
I come from Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah.
I heard
nobody escapes.
Well, you did.
I did.
Is that Boise?
I was born in Boise and I was raised in Pocatello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I was in Idaho for about 10 years.
I heard Boise's like a super cool ass city now. I mean, I've been there,
yeah.
but like that's like a place where people are migrating to.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to like Sun Valley and some of the really beautiful parts of Idaho, you know.
Do you go back there?
I'm going in 2 weeks. Going to Sun Valley, yeah. I don't get back too often because it's just, you know, I travel all the time, so it's hard to take dedicated trips anywhere else. But I love going back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then you did Jeff Buckley's Grace, because we had Gary Lucas on this podcast too, who helped him write.
Yeah. Wow.
Mojo Pin. And,
I love that album so much.
And Grace.
Yep.
And he wrote the guitar riffs on that are like so identifiable. You know,
yep.
all that stuff. And
that album is just so good.
And they got rid of him, and I think it was the biggest mistake Jeff Buckley ever made was they got rid of Gary Lucas.
Oh,
the guitar player.
Well, the album sounds amazing, so.
Well, he did, yeah, but then then the follow-up one is like not really.
There wasn't a follow-up one.
Yeah, there was like Letters to My Sweetheart the Drunk.
After it was posthumous though, so who knows what he would have wanted.
I know, but
he was in the he was about to go in the studio in Memphis when he passed away. So I don't think we can. That's like judging like the journal of Tupac now. It's like he was dead, you know. Who knows what he wanted the next album to sound like?
I know, but
maybe he wanted to bring Gary back in.
Yeah.
We can speculate forever, but that Grace is a masterpiece. It's weird, but it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
Yeah.
Now, do you reinvent these at all when you do them?
Well, not really. I don't like. I really don't like. Let's do a pop song in 7 just because to be clever. Because if something's great, it was great for a reason. And I don't know. That's me. But I like to, you know, all these albums I did in all the original keys, except for Grace is a little difficult. I had to change a couple keys because he sings like an insane person, you know. So, but all the other ones I did in all the original keys. And I don't reinvent it. My voice on it's going to sound different anyway, and my way of singing is different.
Every time I do a cover, I always reinvent it.
I mean, sometimes I've done that. I did like Dancing in the Dark. Bruce Springsteen certainly doesn't sound like Bruce, you know. I certainly sometimes reinvent, but I don't, you know, I don't like, let's turn it into a samba. That's kind of like, meh.
Yeah, I don't turn it into a samba. I normally make it like a sad acoustic version, no matter what it is.
Yeah, well, that's okay. But you're you know.
Yeah, I make it sad and acoustic.
The Joseph Arthur story.
Well, let's hope my story's not sad and acoustic. Did you hear from Joni Mitchell or any of her peeps?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
I mean, I wouldn't expect that you would, but
no. I mean, I did. At City Winery last year. I did, or in November, I did all blue front to back. And I've been traveling around doing blue and white together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So it's called Blue and White.
I did this from blue to white tour. Yeah.
Do you do both albums?
I don't. White is too long. And White's 30 songs.
Yeah.
But I do like this and that, you know.
Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah, I just do like the hits, you know.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun. But it made me miss doing my music. It was like, okay, I'm ready to sing my new record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you touring and stuff for your new record?
I'm going to. Yeah, I haven't toured in a while, but I toured with Arthur Buck.
Yeah.
We did a short tour, but
How was that?
It was okay. It was cool. We just did a second record, so.
Oh, amazing! When's that coming out?
I don't know. It's almost done though. It's come out really good.
Cool.
Yeah. So. And then.
Did I tell you we ran into him in Portland?
Peter Buck
getting out of a cab.
Who did?
So we were in a cab, 3 of us, and I said, "Oh, that guy looks like Peter Buck." I've never met him, obviously, in the crosswalk. And then my husband went full fanboy and jumped out of the cab and was like, "Peter Buck!" like screaming at him. And I was like, "Oh my God." So he's like, this is Morgan James. She's sang she knows Joseph Arthur. He totally went fangirl on him. And Peter Buck was like, cool, hey, nice. Cool as a cucumber. Yeah, looked like a total rock star, of course.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
He is pretty cool as a cucumber.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, he's dope. He's dope. He's like definitely making me. I need to like amp my. See,
you got your. Don't even. There's no comparison. You got your own rock star style.
Thank you, but I feel like you look fantastic. I want to
Thank you.
And I'm like sitting here going, man.
So do you.
Thank you, but like, what was the funniest story is like when I first started playing with Peter. I was in Portland, and I was in this like phase where I was always wearing tracksuits and like and just like.
When was this?
Not that long ago. I wear athletic gear a lot because I'm always exercising.
You're about to go on a run any minute.
Yeah, and so like it's like after a while, it's just like I always have Adidas pants on or something. And I was hanging out with him, and I had like Adidas pants on, but I had like we were getting ready to go to like walk to the Kava bar because he likes to go drink at this Kava bar, and I had like my Adidas pants like pulled up to my knees. And he was like, "Listen, if we're gonna go walk to the Kava bar, you gotta like put your pants, like pull your pants down. I can't walk with you like that."
Oh my gosh!
So I did.
Okay.
But that's a pretty funny story. But so that's really cool that you met him. And what was I gonna ask you about? Oh yeah, you went to Juilliard. What was that like? Like did you go all 4 years there, or did you?
I did.
You completed that?
I sure did.
Damn.
You paid for that?
No,
I'm still paying for it, honey.
No, I feel like that's a really highly impressive to go to something like, because like Juilliard, that struck me. I mean, I never went to college, but like because it was intimidating to me, and plus my English teachers that told me I had was not college material. That was like,
wow.
Yeah, and so. But how did you get into, like, what made you think about going to Juilliard, and how difficult was that to deal with?
Well, getting in was really difficult. You know, I wanted to go to Juilliard because I really wanted to go. I don't know, like some people that I really admired had gone there, and so I got it in my mind that I was going to go there. And this is indicative of my personality, where I'm like, this is what I'm doing, and everybody around me was like, oh, that's cute. That's never going to happen. Nobody gets in there, you know. But that's what I think. Like, that seems impossible. And I was like in a little town, you know, and
you're in Idaho.
Well, I was in California at the time for high school. I was in California.
Which town in California?
Modesto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I had a very supportive family and very supportive teachers, but they were still kind of like, don't get your hopes up, you know. So I got in my mind that I wanted to go there. It's a classical program, opera program, and so you have to send in a pre-screening tape. And you have to
of opera,
and of all these things, and then you have to wait to see if you're invited for an audition. And so then I did, and I had applied to a bunch of other places because I was an overachiever and wanted to go to a great college and all that. And I get an invite for an audition, and so my dad and I fly to New York. And I like wear a velvet gown with pearls. Like it was oh my god, I was so ridiculous. I've got to send you pictures of me in this era.
Great.
It's so rich.
That's funny as
I
hell.
had like long hair. Like I was like so buttoned up and so proper. And so we go to New York.
Where does that come from? That part of your personality?
What do you mean?
Have you thought about like that part of your personality that is like an overachiever or like? Or
I mean, my parents, my mom was like, you know, I remember doing like coloring. She just got me into competitions from early on. I remember doing a coloring contest in like first grade, and her being like critiquing it and getting. I mean,
so your mom's
the
kind
element.
of like
she was. They were tough.
Baseball mom kind of thing.
Yeah, they were tough on, or not, they were tough on me. They inspired me to be successful. They always came at it like, you know, we don't have a ton of money, and if you want to go to a good college, you got to get great grades. And to get good grades, you have to do X, Y, Z, and do all these. I don't know where. And I fed on that. Some kids reject that, and some kids really thrive on it. And I really thrive on pressure and. And yeah, when I started winning things, I got a good response, and then I learned, if I win things, if I succeed, if I get A's, I get a good response. You know, kids learn that very early.
Yeah, you get attention.
Yeah,
and you get love or whatever, or what's perceived as love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's another episode on that.
Or it could be this episode.
It's good. Everything should turn into therapy. I mean, it's why I'm in therapy.
That's that's what podcasts are. They're therapy. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Public therapy.
I mean, yeah, I just found that I've always really, I mean, that's why social media it's good for me and horrible for a personality like me, because I already thrive on being liked and succeeding and getting approval. And so it's like I need social media for my job and for my career, but it's also like it's very addictive.
It's ridiculous. I'm very similar in that way. Like
the approval.
The approval. But we're all being trained like weird experiments. So it's not just people that tend towards overachievement like maybe you and me, but in fact everybody is like,
but now everybody's
now thriving on, embarrassingly likes and stuff like that. It's just like ridiculous after a while.
But it's like it's nothing new though. If you're a musician or an actor, it's not really that new, because I mean if you told like some banker, an accountant, or anybody, oh yeah, you're just going to line up with a bunch of other people that look just like you, and you're just going to sing, for 1 minute, and then they're going to decide if you're good enough to get a job. They would be like, that sounds insane. That sounds horrible. You know what I mean? But that was just like life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so I fly to Juilliard, I audition, then I wait and see if I'm called back.
Were other students like in gowns and stuff
kind
like
of,
this?
yeah.
Like other people.
I mean, it was 20 years ago. I mean, I moved to New York 20 years ago this month.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. It's my 20th anniversary.
You've made it here. You could make it anywhere.
Right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there were some other people that were, I mean, nobody had phones. There wasn't YouTube. Thank God nobody was capturing me in this era, So I sang, and I was kind of like, had probably the least amount of training and background of the other people, but I was so fearless. I had no nerves. I had no fear. I was like, oh, this is my place. I need to be here.
Huh.
And
where did you get that?
I don't know. I've always had that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it got damaged and killed a little later, but I was really fearless at this time when I was 18.
No, there's
17.
like some kind of part of me, like I remember telling my dad when I was like 17, I'm going to be the best songwriter in the world. And I believed it. I had never written a song before, but I was like, I'm going to be the best songwriter in the world.
What did he say?
I mean, to him, that was like lightning striking. Like, it wasn't like, there was definitely a tension there, let's just say.
I'll say that.
But like, hey, this is your therapy session, not mine. No, but so, yeah, I had this like inordinate amount of confidence too. Like, but also like a incredible, like, the flip side was this like massive inferiority complex. So it was like a mix of both things. But there was some part of me, I think it came from the fact that I needed to do something about the massive inferiority complex, that it also like manifested into this like area of extreme confidence
and mastery.
Yeah, like there was some interplay between those two things. Do you think that you were experiencing something similar to that?
I've never had an inferiority complex. I think that the other side of my my Achilles heel was always envy and jealousy, and I think that ate up a lot of my 20s. It was that I felt really concerned with other people's paths and why they had something I wanted, so that was the flip side, or the dark side of my wanting to be successful, and drove me, was that it's like I shouldn't have been paying attention to other people and why they had what they had, because I don't know their story. And now that I'm therapized a little more and have worked on it for years and years, I realize how many relationships I ruined, and also my own sadness that I brought upon myself by being covetous and envious and jealous.
Where do you think that comes from, though? Being covetous.
It must come from. It probably comes from an overblown sense of self, or an overblown sense that I deserve, of deserving something that someone else has, and I think that that's really, on one side, sure, it drives me to want things. But it also drives me to think that I am owed something.
Why do you think that you're owed something?
I don't know. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out, but I don't necessarily feel that right now, although sometimes it still creeps up, where I feel, why do they have this? And it's like, why do you feel negative about someone else's life?
Well, I think social media also kind of plays into that too.
But I felt it before social media existed.
Yeah, I used to feel it more than I do nowadays.
I definitely don't think that it drives me anymore, but I think that it used to cause me a lot of pain.
Younger thing.
Maybe.
For me it was, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just aware that my own path it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else's path necessarily, and vice versa.
But you know what? I think when I was at Juilliard, I had imposter syndrome, big time. Mm-hmm. And I think they bred it. They absolutely fed into it and were like, yeah, you don't belong here. Mm-hmm. And so then it was like, some people I got in, and then I came here and I thought it was going to be all perfect and magical. And then I was kind of like, all the things that I probably should have been afraid of when I was auditioning kind of came true. Like, I probably should have been nervous, and I probably should have said, oh, wow, I don't know anything about music. And I probably, then when I got there, it was so tough and so competitive and so dark. Well, there's like seven people in a class that want to be opera singers, and then there's 20 actors in a class, and there's 15 dancers, and then there's a few musicians. But it's a class, everybody's kind of in their own lane. They're not competitive amongst one another. But what they breed there, at least they used to, is this sense of, it's the old school mentality of, we're going to break you down
to build you back up.
To build you back up. And so I think that it is, there is something I really like about that mentality. I think that I don't think kids should be coddled, and I don't think everybody gets a medal. And so I think it's good to learn that sometimes the world, particularly in New York, beats you up. And if you can survive it, maybe that's the sign. And but it doesn't make it easy.
I tend to agree with that. Like, I just think, I don't know. I just know for me personally, I've gotten the most benefit out of becoming the most beat down.
Yes.
Like the absolute biggest gifts in my life have come from the most turmoil and tragic shit that I'm still bothered and saddened by. To a degree, some things are irredeemable, but still, those things push me on a daily basis to, just to go beyond what I could have been otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I just think, like, the thing that bugs me the most is apathy.
Yeah.
Because this life is an opportunity to evolve and manifest. And create yourself. That's what this is. Like, you're supposed to create yourself here, I feel like. And it's like...
Yeah, and it's to that in that vein, I hate mediocrity.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. That's
apathy.
That's apathy.
That's apathy.
And that's so much of the music business right now that I feel is just so mediocre and basic. And I'm just like, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, you're so tough. And I was like, yeah, great. Yeah. Fine, call me tough, but I'm not. But you're never going to call me mediocre, and you're never going to call me apathetic.
Right.
And it's just, and when people say, "Oh, Juilliard sounds tough," I'm like, "Yeah, but would I change it? Probably not."
Right.
Because and that's why I never moved from New York. People are like, "Oh, you should move here or there," and sometimes I look at all my friends' mass exodus to LA, and I like being there sometimes, but that way of life is too easy and nice.
Yeah, well, LA is...
I need to be beaten up.
I know what you mean. LA to me is not easy and nice, but I get it. I know exactly what you mean.
It's just kind of like, man, it's always the same. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then
I almost recently moved to the beach and stayed, but...
In Venice?
No, I was in Todos Santos, Mexico.
Well, no, that sounds nice.
It is nice, but Ehud was up for starting this podcast, and so it made me stay in New York, and I'm kind of really glad.
Well, you can always go visit. It's not going anywhere.
I'm glad I'm here because I agree. I like the pressure of it. I do like the sort of.
I like the pressure cooker. I like that you can be having the best day, and New York's like not so fast.
Well, and creativity happens from pressure too, especially if you need to release something or if you got to close the book on something, those kind of things. That's what makes an album happen.
Yeah.
like if you have 3 days to do something, it'll take 3 days. If you have 3 months, it'll take 3 months.
But also something that happens in New York that doesn't happen anywhere else is that you just the serendipity and running into people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you and I met by chance. You know, people meet by chance, and I don't think that. Of course, there people are schmoozing all over the world, and they're particularly in LA. But you don't run into people, you know, and you're forced to confront people all the time here, in a good way and a bad way. And so I run into people, and I'm constantly confronted with things that you're not confronted with if you're always in your car and then at your meeting, and in your car and at your house. And I think that you know, everybody being amongst one another here, I think is just special.
Yeah, absolutely. And because there's so much emotion, there's so much emotional content all the time because of that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I find LA actually difficult, because it's vacuous to me. Like,
yes.
There's something super lonely about it when I'm there.
It's so lonely, even though it's beautiful.
It's beautiful and it's cool, and I'm not a hater,
so
but I get lonely and I get weirded out.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, and I start not knowing what I'm doing with my life.
Same.
And I'm like, what's happening? What, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same.
Did you have any great mentors or anything like that, or like did you have any like tell me about that.
I had actually one of the I had a couple people that really believed in me, thank goodness, and I think it's what got me through, because it's a 4-year program, you know. I had one acting teacher, Ed Berkeley. He teaches at Circle in the Square and other places. He really got me and believed in me. I mean, he was tough and strange, but he got it. And this other teacher, Mary Anthony Cox, she actually just died a couple months ago, and she is a legendary teacher. She taught ear training. Okay, so ear training is you take these classes in like sight reading, essentially sight reading and conducting and training your ear. Okay, and I had not had any formal music lessons before I went to Juilliard. I had like some voice lessons, some this, some that, choir. You know, I was 18.
So you were just naturally a great singer or something? Like, what gave you the idea to go to Juilliard?
I don't know. I don't know. I just...
Like, you had no lessons?
I had voice lessons.
Okay.
You know, in my town.
You didn't play an instrument?
I didn't play an instrument. You know. And Mary Anthony Cox, we had the singers have her twice a week, or 3 times a week. And she was from Kentucky, and she studied with this very famous teacher called Nadia Boulanger in France. Mary Anthony Cox was so tough and so rigid and so like just had this way of being, and she did not budge. And I think I cried every single class with Miss Cox, okay? And not because she was mean, because I wasn't used to being bad at something.
And you were frustrated that you weren't like getting
I wasn't. Not only was I not that, I came from like being the big fish in a little pond, and then getting into Juilliard, and then being at Juilliard and being like stinking, like being horrible, you know, like being like not getting all A's and not being good, right?
Yeah.
So Miss Cox was really tough, but she and I couldn't sight read, and I wasn't a good sight singer, and I wasn't good at this, wasn't good at that.
Can you sight read now?
I'm sure enough better. I'm sure. Yeah. She taught me everything that I know about music, and she also figured out that I was really good at atonal music, that I was good at new music, and that I could randomly sight read atonal music, you know, better than everybody else. So she would say, she just would never, ever let up. And she would say these things like, I remember her saying, you know, someday you're going to be on a plane, and you're going to be using my techniques, and you're going to thank me someday. And I was like, that is ridiculous. I'm never going to be on a plane sight reading. I am on a plane sight reading all the fucking time. And I think of her, and I think of how...
Why on a plane? Because you're on a way to a gig.
Just going here, going there, learning a new chart, whatever. Oh, everything. The fact that I even consider myself a musician, the fact that I can stand in front of a choir or a string quartet and conduct is because of her. And she wasn't mean to me. What she was saying in her way, I'm not going to let up on what is somewhere inside of you. And like she was the quintessential great teacher, you know? And I don't know that she thought I was a great singer. I don't know that anybody at Juilliard thought I was a great singer, but I survived it, and I got through, and recently I've started to like my classical voice again, because of course it bred this inferiority and self-loathing in me that I probably was meant to navigate for the next 10 years, you know.
Navigate the self-loathing to find your excellence.
Yeah. And to find like the love of it again, to find the girl that showed up in the velvet gown and was like, I love to sing. Mm-hmm. And I found, you know, but it's okay. It's like, what else would I have been doing if not that journey, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, you could be doing any number of things.
Right. Right.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting place, you know. It's you go in, you start, and you think, oh, these hallowed halls, and I'm never going to disrespect it. And then it becomes a place. It's just like a place with people, and they're flawed, and they're doing the best they can, and they've got their own inferiority complexes, and they've got their own agendas, and then it's just a place.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when I went to Real World Records, like Peter Gabriel's studio.
Yeah.
And that whole, because there was such a mythology around that, too. And,
totally.
And I remember coming into that realization, like, oh, everybody's just people.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Like
and most of them don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and everybody's just like, you know, I just remember working with, like, really good producers there, and they're, like, using, like, effects, like, weird, cheap effects that they got from Guitar Center, too. And it's like, oh, it's just, there's no magic place where better than people exist.
Yeah,
it's all just
it's all people
just doing shit.
Yeah,
you know?
And everybody's kind of treading water, figuring it out.
Yeah, well, that's like, I think when you're at your best, when you're like just kind of figuring it out. Like, you know, rock and roll is all about beginnings and not knowing what you're doing. That's like a Lester Bangs quote, like not knowing what the fuck you're doing, and you know. I like that whole energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were you about to ask?
Did you have a question about Broadway?
Yeah, well, earlier, like about 40 minutes ago, you mentioned...
well, we haven't seen each other in a long time.
No, it's just in the back of my mind. I was going to say something then, but I didn't want to cut the conversation.
Yeah.
You said that, you know, Broadway, you were chasing somebody else's dream. And not your own.
Well, what I meant is that I wanted to be there, but once you get there, you're making someone else money.
Yeah.
You're making a producer their money. You're fulfilling their dream.
What's like a daily week, like the scheduled hour by hour for you when you were on Broadway, like rehearsals, or do you just show up for each show? Like, what goes on?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot that you're required to do. So it's, you know, you have Monday off, you go in Tuesday, you have a show. Wednesday, you have 2 shows. So you get up, you go to the gym, you go to your matinee, you do 45 minutes of prep before your matinee, then you do the matinee, then you have a dinner break, then you do another show, then you sign playbills, and then the next day is Thursday, and then you do understudy rehearsal because everybody's pretty much covering something else, and then you're there all day, and then you do a show, and then Friday you do your laundry, and you do all the other shit that you haven't done, and then you do a show. Saturday you do 2 shows. Sunday you do 2 shows. So it's it's a relentless schedule.
And it goes on for the duration.
Forever and ever,
right,
amen.
So there's no break, there's
No, you get 2 vacation weeks a year, if you're lucky enough for your show to last a year, you know. Nobody calls out on Broadway.
It's a grind.
It's a grind, but it's also a tradition. And going back to what you just said about they're not singing their own music, it's just a different genre. That's like like comparing a book to a movie. It's a completely different genre.
But that's Ehud for you.
Yeah,
that's the type of shit he'll say.
Doesn't that frustrate? Like if you're a Broadway star, it's not the same as being a rock star. Like people.
It's apples and oranges.
Right. But it doesn't frustrate people.
Why would it?
Why
I don't
frustrate
know.
who?
I would want to be a Broadway. Like, I mean, I do my own music, but I would love to be on a Broadway show.
It's completely different. It's a different genre.
Just be a whole different. Yeah, just be a whole different pursuit. It's like doing a podcast. It's like, so be like saying, I don't like podcasts because you're not like singing your own song while you're podcasting. It's like, okay, but that's not the point.
I'm just comparing it to singer-songwriters or rock
but
and
it's
roll.
not. But it's not that. You know, it's kind of like not everybody wants to be a rock star. Some people want to be a ballerina in the New York City Ballet, and some people want to write a novel, and some people, want to make money in the stock market. Not everybody has the same goals. And if your goal is to stand on that stage 8 shows a week and be a complete warrior and do that every night, the Nathan Lanes and the BB Newirths and the Carolee Carmelos, Terry Mann, some of these people that I've had a privilege of watching every single night who never call out and never miss a show, and it's a totally different art form.
How do they do it if they're like super sick or have the flu or some shit like that?
Well, I mean, if you're really sick, of course you call out, but they wait till it's like the show must go on. It's like a real old school mentality.
I like that.
Which is so like cool to see.
I like that whole
and
energy.
It does get tiring to do the same shit every night. But some people really thrive on it and love it. And if the right show came along, I would love to do it again, But I think that it's a whole lifestyle, and there are just people that that really make that entire world exist. And it's the ensembles. The ensembles of Broadway shows are the complete fire underneath theater, because they keep it alive. Having a leading lady or a leading man is one thing, and they're nothing without their company.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of course, they're amazing too. But the companies, these people that they just make the shows really special because they move the scenery and they're backstage doing everything, and they're helping to keep the leading lady and the leading man, afloat.
Did you see Birdman?
I did.
What did you think of that? That's like Broadway, right? Like the whole...
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. I loved the way it was shot.
The whole behind the scenes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And what goes on when people leave the stage. And
just
it's
that.
Really cool.
Is it like that in a Broadway show in terms of just like the characters and things like that, or is
that's
it,
like an extreme version? But I think
that's a movieized
version. But I think there are tons of characters and there's lots of antics that go on backstage. Yeah.
And my other comparison question was the show you said lasted 27 days. So how does something like that happen? How much time before the show were there rehearsals, and then no? Because think about a band. I'm comparing it to a band. They go on tour, and after 27 days, they're like, "Okay, guys, this isn't working for us. We're done."
No, people make whole records at labels and then get shelved, and their careers die. We could do an entire 5 hours about why shit is mismanaged. Shows open and close all the time. And it's really fucking expensive. And it makes a rock star tour look like pennies. It takes so many years and hours and millions of dollars to put up a Broadway show, a big Broadway musical. In that show in particular, it had been in the works for years. I came in and was involved in one workshop and the Broadway production, and the out of town and the Broadway production. We did like 4 weeks of previews and like 4 weeks of shows. I could never even tell you what goes on in the books to make a show close like that. But if you're that interested, there's lots of information about. I mean, there's like 10 Broadway shows closing this month. It's a bloodbath. It's so expensive. It's so expensive.
Unless you're Bruce Springsteen, then you just take a guitar.
Well, his overhead's nothing.
But so when's your album gonna come out?
We're gonna do a couple singles this fall. And I'm doing a couple of music videos and a couple singles. And
you gotta do even more. Like, we're doing 5 singles before we even put out the record. That's our plan. That's the new thing. Like,
I don't care about singles.
Everybody's putting out like 5 singles before they put out the project.
Okay.
That's the new shit.
I'll do a couple this fall, and then the pre-order goes up in November. And then I just can't afford to make a bunch of music videos. They're expensive.
I don't think you got to make a video for everything, though.
That's true.
That's true. But anyway, do it however, but that's our plan.
Cool. You're starting in October?
Well, the album comes out October 11th, but like when we put out the first single today or this last week, and then our plan is to put out, I think, 5
cool. Okay.
tracks before the album comes out.
Great.
Yeah. So when's yours released?
Full album probably top of 2020.
Oh, okay. So you don't have like a projected date yet, street date yet?
No, probably. I think maybe February, Valentine's Day-ish, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Is it done?
We're mixing it next week in Memphis, and then we're mastering it September 4th, and then it'll, then I'll just be working on artwork. And
who's mixing it?
Scott McEwen, who owns Memphis Magnetic, because he's mixing to tape. And then Greg Calby at Sterling Sound is going to master it.
I know Greg.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Shout out to Greg Calby. He's a genius.
What a genius.
Mastering engineer.
What a genius. What a sweetheart. He's done everything.
John Lennon.
Yeah. He's so good.
Yeah.
And it's the best. Mastering day is the best, don't you think? Because you go and you sit and you listen to your... You don't think it's the best?
No.
I love sitting and...
he said that. He's like, honey,
I think just sitting down and listening to your record front to back for the first time ever.
Yeah. No, that's
pretty
good.
magical.
But it's when you got to let go of everything, I find that like super unnerving and I freak out. And then I have to what about this? I mean, I still have a
So you're controlling too.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely on that level. I mean, it's the combination of letting go and holding on and all that, like that relationship. Just I find that very unnerving. Like finally letting go, because nothing's ever done. It's like
I know.
It's just no work is ever done. It's abandoned. There's that quote. I forget what the quote is, but nothing is ever done, and it's also letting go of your perfectionism because nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
So, and it's this thing you've been working on for so long, and it almost can't possibly sort of live up to everything that you've imagined
built up in your mind,
built up and everything that it represents. So it's like I find mastering to be like a collision of all those energies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How do you let go, Joe?
Well,
at what point you're like, okay?
When I have to. Like when there's
deadline?
When there's a date and there's a manager getting mad at me on the other end of the phone, usually, and then I'm like, okay, I have to let go.
I'm done.
Like that's it. And then and I mean, yeah. So, but on the other side, hearing it as in the best state you've ever heard it is also celebratory. So I get it on that level too. Like,
and it feels like a new beginning for the record.
Yeah.
Or like, who knows what could happen?
Yeah. Yeah. So what you guys are mixing to? What 1/4-inch tape or 1/2-inch tape or 1/4-inch?
I can't remember.
One of them.
Tape.
And on a what kind of board? Neve board or
no? On the Oh God, I'm gonna die if I don't remember. On the
API.
No, he's got that
SSL.
No. I got a picture of it. Where is it?
I've seen a picture of it on. I can't remember.
It was the one. It was in the Grand Ole Opry. It was but there's only 25 of them in the world. What's the name of that board?
I don't know. Oh, those are the only 3 I know the name
of. It'll come to me. But yeah, it's amazing.
And so you guys.
I'm not the like gear person.
Yeah.
I'm horrible. The fact that I even remember what mic I sang on is a miracle.
But so like you're mixing the whole thing on this board. Do you know if it's automated or not? The board. You don't know?
It's not.
Oh, it's not. So they're going to be kind of performance mixes.
Yeah.
That's another thing I think that is really, really cool is performance mixes.
Yeah.
That should be great.
I won't be there for the mix.
No?
No. I mean, I'm good. I got to go sing and do other things. They'll mix it. It'll be great. I trust them. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I mean, it's like the thing about doing an album this way is like there's not that many elements. There's just I didn't do an ad-lib track every other record I've done like a Mariah Carey ad-lib track on every single track. I've done like 22 tracks of Morgan's doing BGVs, and I've done all this other stuff. So there's
all kinds of decisions.
Oh, so many decisions, so many tracks. Yeah. But this is like there's one Morgan. Yeah. There's one background vocal fader. There's one string fader, and it's like, how much can you fuck it up? It's like make it sound rich and warm and delicious, and call it a day. It's like it takes the decision making out of it in some ways, because it's just like, it's am I happy with my lead vocal? Yeah. Great. Am I happy with what the guys did? Yes.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool.
It seems like it is gonna sound great. in my head it sounds great.
I hope people like it. I think it's representative of what I do on stage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Now my favorite part is like making the artwork and the packaging. I love that.
Yeah, I'm in that mix right now.
What are you doing for your art? Painting?
Just photos.
Photos.
Yeah, but actually we made a video for the next single called Streetcar. We painted like this whole old photo of Led Zeppelin and the city winery office, and the video's all around that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend's in the video, which is pretty cool because it's a
cool.
song about a relationship that's over.
Oh, great.
You know, but it's an uplifting song about that. So,
okay.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
It's pretty cool. She's a painter, so we painted it together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
It was pretty deep, actually.
Yeah.
Worked out. Hey, so before we go though, I want to do can we do some cards? Do you have any of those cards?
Yeah, they're right here. Hold
what
on.
cards?
Hold on.
Yeah, we just want you to pick some cards and then get your take on them.
All right, great.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell me my
I don't know.
future?
Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're.
Okay. I just choose one.
Yeah.
All right.
You read it.
I read it.
Uh-huh.
Any plunge into the unknown is reckless, but that's where the treasure lies.
Is that all it says?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's so about what we've been talking about New York.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't know. I think that how old were you when you moved here?
Yeah, I was, I guess, mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
25.
Did you have any reason to be here? Like, did you know what you were going to do with your life?
Well, at that point, I was already signed. I got signed to Peter Gabriel's label.
And you came from Georgia?
And I came from Georgia. Yeah, but I mean, originally I'm from Ohio, but then I moved to Georgia. And then I lived in London for a year.
Okay.
And then I moved here. So I was like... But before that, I would come because I had friends here and stuff like that. So I would visit for long periods.
It's just funny, this, like, about treasure, because I always, when people bitch about New York, I always say, well, it's like, that's where diamonds are made. It's like between two rocks, what I mean?
In the pressure.
Yeah,
What's
pressure.
it say again?
Well, any plunge into the unknown is reckless, but that's where the treasure lies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think so much of, like, all of my dreams feel like that plunge, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like I would like the title Reckless Treasure.
Yeah. Well, my last album was Reckless Abandon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. What's yours say?
Mine says, we have forgotten that the natural foe to life is not a distant death, but a present in the moment detachment from living.
Wow. If there was ever a card made for Joseph Arthur.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's see. We have forgotten the natural. Yeah, but a present in the moment detachment from living. Yeah, I work very hard on every day just becoming attached to living. Like, that's why I like to start my days like with a run or going to yoga or something like that, because when you first wake up, your tendency, especially if you check the phone, which I'll allow myself to do a lot, almost all the time, with the caveat that it's going to lead into going to yoga or going on a run where I'll put my phone either off. If it's in yoga, then I'm away from my phone for at least 2 hours, because I'm a 90-minute yoga class, and then at least 30 minutes on my walk home where I won't look at the phone. So that's 2 hours without my phone, which to me is mentally super healthy. And then, of course, I'm on it all day again. But still.
No, but you're very inspiring with the way...
At least I'm off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're very present, and I think you inspire other people to be more present and more... and definitely inspire people to be more active in their physical and spiritual lives.
Yeah, they're connected, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing that you, in addition to your art, in addition to your music, that you inspire people to do.
Yeah, well, that feels like more like my current purpose even more so than music and art, which
Yep.
I'm still very passionate about, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm doing some of the best things I'm done. But yeah, my real heart and passion is to try to become like a kind of a motivator, I think, and that's what interests me the most.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah, instead of identifying with your thoughts, because like if you identify with your thoughts first thing in the morning, and then you stay as a thought the whole day, like that's like hell on earth in a way, because then you're just like, your monkey mind is not who you should be identifying with all the time, and that's what most people are, I feel like, or it's painful to identify with that. So working on yoga or running is a way of like identifying with the witness presence of the presence of your side that's witnessing your thoughts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and that to me is how I read this card about the foe is a detachment from living, because I feel like that brings me into like being attached to living. I don't know. Life purpose.
Oh. Okay. Am I reading it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Usually we do these on helium. We just don't have the tank here with us.
Yeah.
This is called school.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
The answer that you're seeking involves going to school.
Full circle.
Full circle.
School of life.
Yep. Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Gosh. Mary Anthony, it's an angel.
Yeah. That's
the teacher I was talking about.
That's what it says, huh? The answer.
Sure does.
Huh.
The answer you're seeking involves going to school.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like, yeah, life's a giant school, basically.
Yeah.
That sounds like some hippie shit to say that after you smoke some weed.
If we were on helium, this would be really.
Life's about going to
Mine
school.
says yoga.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It says,
Can't make this
your
shit up.
life is enhanced by yoga, stretching, and exercising.
Well, there you go. That's us in a
It
nutshell.
started strong and then went down.
Wait,
It
what?
simplified it a little bit.
oh,
yeah.
Stretching. It's more. It's
Yeah.
not stretching. It's more than that.
Yeah. Well, did you ever see that Penn and Teller show called Bullshit?
Yeah, I used to love it. I used
That
to
was
tell people to watch the one about bottled water. Everyone who was crazy about recycling, because they totally
Mm-hmm. I know.
dismantle that.
Dismantled
Yeah,
recycling.
it's a great show.
And they dismantled yoga too on
they
an episode.
did?
And the way they reduced it was they said it's stretching,
Right.
which I think is pretty. I think it's funny. I mean, and it is.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
it's just really like intense, like multifaceted stretching. But
Right.
it's like, so do you do? I mean, how do you maintain your health and beauty and physique? And I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way to say it, but
I
you're
thought you were still 22.
yeah, you're like in
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Not to be too flattery, but
I'll take it.
You look great.
Thanks.
I mean, and so like, do you have? I know we got to wrap it up soon, but do you have a routine or anything? Like, what do you do? Do you do?
Well, I'm
stuff?
vegan.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm vegan, which I love.
Uh-huh.
So I think that is a huge component. I think what you put into your body is really, really important. I try to drink a ton of water, and but I drink alcohol and I drink coffee, and
I love coffee.
I love coffee.
Oh my god.
But I got myself down to just 2 cups in the morning. I don't do it all day, and then I don't. I mean, it's like basically just running around is like only exercise. I mean, I used to lift all the time and
You
be
don't
way
do
more.
like a daily exercise or some kind of exercise routine?
I
or
mean, I ride
anything?
my bike, but not real. Not I'm not like Joseph Arthur.
That's the other cool thing about New York is it does make you exercise.
I mean, I'm always hoofing
just
around,
by
yes.
just by getting around.
And I'm hauling shit. Like I fly several times a week. I'm like
Yeah.
running through airports and I'm hauling
So
bags.
you're on
and,
tour all the time. huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not right now. I mean, right now for the next couple months, I'm just doing kind of one-offs and symphony work and solo engagements.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need to get more exercise.
Is the vegan thing hard to deal with on the road?
No. The only place it's hard is in Europe.
Yeah.
In Europe, I'm not like a gold star vegan. Nobody's going to give me an award because if I'm in Europe, it's like there's butter in everywhere. Unless you're in a vegan kitchen.
I love butter.
It's delicious. It's like unless you're in a vegan kitchen, there's butter in everything,
Yeah.
So it's like I do the best I can.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's not like I'm not really going to be like the face of PETA. I do the best I can,
Right.
But I do love being plant-based and I love animals and I love the way that being the vegan diet makes me feel.
Right.
And I think that it feels, and I think it's better for the environment, and I think it's better for our bodies.
Huh.
And I love it.
How long have you been vegan?
A year and a half, and I've been vegetarian for 7 years.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I would kind of eat fish here and there. When I was a vegetarian, I would kind of be like, every now and again I would eat fish, and then I kind of went to Tokyo, ate all the fish, never ate it again. I went out on top.
I'm good.
I'm like, I'm good. I did it.
The best.
I had the best. I'm good. But yeah, and then I'm really paranoid and deathly afraid of doing anything to my face. I mean, everybody my age is pumping their face full of shit, and that's their prerogative.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm against that.
I've never done it.
Well,
you're not
men don't have the same
dude,
pressure.
But yeah, like I mean, still.
But
though.
you also, your physique could have its own Instagram, and it's I think that what it's like to have a,
That's your new account, Joseph Arthur's physique.
Joseph Arthur's body. No, it's like
shots from here down.
Listen, you won't hear any complaints. Actually, his Instagram is already kind of that. No, I'm kidding. Now he's blushing.
No, it has been.
It reminds me.
I try to hey, listen. I try to tone it down.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
It's tease worthy though.
Listen,
I should be teased.
You posted a photo.
I appreciate it.
It's getting
too,
a little thirsty.
You posted a shirtless photo of yourself.
I did.
A while back. And then James Maddock.
Oh yeah, he
replied. Do you not own a T-shirt?
Do you not own a shirt?
And then a friend of mine, Sarah, replied to him, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, calm down. Some of us don't mind it."
Yeah, some of it. Don't try to ruin our joy.
Well, no, but like James Maddock and I, that's because he's written that like several times. Every time I post anything,
funny.
And it's a great thing now. And
That's
then and then one time, and then he posted one of his like just his feet in the dashboard. I'm like. And then I wrote on his, like, do you even have shoes?
Do you own shoes?
So then it's become like a thing. And then I saw him at the City Winery closing. And I'm like, dude, let's do a shirtless. Let's like do a shirt like we did a photo. Anyway,
oh my God,
he's a great dude.
Shout out to James.
Shout out to James. He was on this podcast too. So.
Yeah, I'm very paranoid about doing anything to my face. It's like,
yeah,
and I'm in a very vain business. We all are, but it's, and everybody I know, like, is doing filler and Botox, and it scares the shit out of me. I'm like, I like my face. I like that, like.
Well, you don't need to do anything. Like,
thank you, but.
You're fine.
Thank you.
And I mean that in both ways. You're fine and you're fine. It's like, you're fine. You don't need to.
But I like the way a woman's face looks when she lives.
Yeah, aging is not a bad thing.
I think it's sexy. I think it's like, I like the way people look when they
get a little age.
Yeah, when they have wisdom. And I don't want to look like somebody else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what people start looking like. They start looking like somebody else. And I like the things that I earned on my face.
Yeah. I don't want to do the plastic surgery thing.
Don't do it.
Nah, I'm not going to do it.
You don't have quite the same pressures that women do.
Yeah, because I got this one line right here, and I had a dream that I was like getting Botox in that line.
Don't do it.
No, I'm not going to.
I know. Okay.
Are
you getting more tattoos? Tell me your tattoo journey.
I don't know.
When was the last time you got one?
It's been years and years.
So these are all these have been living with you for a long time.
They're just relics of the past.
Relics of the past. Okay.
Yeah, but
that could be an album.
Yeah, but I mean, I could end up getting more. I'm not opposed to it. Like if I met like an amazing tattoo artist and there was like a thing to do, but at the same time, tattoos hurt.
Right.
Like that's one. The last one I got, I was like.
Where was the last one?
I can't even remember, but maybe it was like this skull or something like that. And then, and I was just like, damn, this really hurts.
They?
Yeah, Fistful of Mercy.
Yeah,
we all got this. We all got this Mercy tattoo. Like me, Danny Harrison, and Ben Harper, and Jesse Green all have this exact Mercy.
Mm.
And you have some astronaut ones too that you.
Oh yeah, this one. Right. Yeah. So.
I hear it's addictive.
It is, but I don't have that addiction anymore. You know, now it's just like it's on there from years ago. I like Henry Rollins talks about it. Like when people bring up tattoos, he's like, yeah, I haven't gotten a tattoo in like 20 years or something. I'm not really about that anymore. He says it in a certain way that's pretty interesting. Like, this is just the old paint,
Mm-hmm.
And I kind
old
of
paint or old paint.
No, paint. He said or something. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
He said it better than that, but I kind of relate to that. Like where it's like it's part of my past.
Yeah.
It's not really anything I regret because it's just it's it's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't get them removed.
No.
Unless they came up with some like way where it's just like you could just remove it by just
rubbing
doing
something.
like something like that, then I would think about it maybe because it would be, if it was simple to do it.
Clean slate.
But I probably wouldn't even then. I don't know because there's something about tattoos that like I don't know, they just become part of you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you have any?
I don't.
No. Well, you shouldn't. I don't think you're planning on it.
I wasn't planning.
I don't feel like you're the tattoo type.
Yeah, I don't know what I would. Doesn't seem like it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're headed in that direction.
Blank canvas.
Yeah, stay a blank canvas. Well, Morgan James, thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to see you again.
It's really nice to see you too.
And where could people follow you online, Morgan?
Oh,
Let's give all your socials and everything.
On Instagram and Twitter, Morgan A. James.
A stands for?
My middle name, Allen. Because Morgan James was taken. My website is MorganJamesOnline.com. And my Facebook is, I think Morgan James Online.
Morgan James Online.
Yeah, and my YouTube channel, Morgan James Online. You can find me all streaming, everywhere music is sold, and videos and everywhere.
Go listen to Morgan James. She can sing her ass off, y'all. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We still gotta we should do a video for my channel. Remember I told you that?
We definitely should. Let's do it. Let's do it this next couple weeks. You want to? Are you around or when are you?
I'm back end of August. Let's do it.
I would love to.
Okay, cool.
I would love to do that. We could just pick a cover song.
Are you in the same
right?
apartment?
No, I moved to the East Village.
Oh, cool.
I'm in Manhattan now.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
I loved your place.
Yeah, did you? It was kind of weird.
I liked it.
But
well, I want to. I can come over. You can come over, and we do video.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Cool.
And then, do we do a cover song?
Yeah.
Which one should we do?
We could do anything.
What do you think we should do?
Marilyn Manson.
No, absolutely not. I'm vetoing that. Veto.
Okay.
Yeah. What's
Veto.
that?
No one's done a Marilyn
He's from
Manson
Ohio.
cover.
Where are you from in Ohio?
Do?
Akron.
Just find a good duet.
Or we could make any song a duet.
Do Landslide.
Maybe we should do.
Who do you like? Who do you
I
love?
don't know. I was just like thinking when you asked me where I'm from Akron. We could do a Pretenders song. Chrissy
Great.
Hine.
Brass in Pocket.
Yeah.
I'll stand by you.
Okay. Yeah, let's start thinking about that. But I look forward to that.
Gonna make you. What's that? Brass in Pocket.
Yeah, sing something.
How's that go? Make you want me. Gonna use my legs. Gonna use my arms. I can't remember that.
Gonna use my
fingers.
It sounds so good when you sing.
Well, thank you. I'll Stand By You is a great song, too. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Something in the darkest hour.
Have you ever sung, do you know the Ho'oponopono prayer? I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you.
No, but I see your beautiful paintings of it.
We should sing that.
Okay, great.
I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you sing with me, ready?
I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Can I do a harmony?
Yeah. I love you, I'm sorry.
You gotta stay on the melody.
Please forgive me, thank
Come
you.
on, Joe. Come on.
I didn't go to Juilliard. I love
gosh.
you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, thank you. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Morgan.
Thank you.
Well,
You're
it's
the
my
best.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right. See you
Bye.
later.
See ya.
Bye, everybody. Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come-to-where-I'm-from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.